The Warriors get boat raced by the Sacramento Kings. The Kings go on to the play-in round. They will play at New Orleans on Friday night. We'll have more on that game, more on the play-in games coming up in a few minutes that are remaining in the Western Conference. Sacramento beating Golden State 118-94, a game that the Warriors were close into the second half, and then combination of being out of gas. Klay Thompson did not score, 0 for 10 from the floor tonight, and the Kings just ran away with this game. Look, Sabonis had a big game, a near triple-double. Fox had 24. Murray was incredible tonight. He had 8 threes and 32 points. The Kings just had too much, and in a matchup of teams with similar records, the Kings get revenge for the game last year against Golden State. Now, when I've said the end of the Golden State Warrior dynasty, tonight's the last night of the dynasty. Patent pending, can't steal that, Buster Olney. It's not that suddenly Draymond and Klay are terrible. It's just you need to move on. And both of these guys will have value with other teams. Draymond, I am sure, is still a player. He wants to continue to make that kind of money. Can't make all that money in podcasts. You got to make $25 million a year the next few years. There are teams that can use him because he has shown that, hey, I'm not quite on empty. But the Warriors, if they're trying to build, his personality is way too big, and you want a fresh start around Steph Curry. So there are teams that will take Draymond Green. You might not get a lot in return, but there are teams that will take Draymond Green because they think he could be the teeth, he could be the attitude that we're missing.
Culture, attitude, and all
maybe,
that stuff.
Yeah,
sure.
And maybe I can get another championship. And Klay needs to be a guy that comes off the bench. That is new.
No,
team
he's
like,
going to get
listen,
paid big money to go somewhere else.
But that's it.
The NBA is stupid.
Fine.
Yeah, no, that's the way this is going to work.
But that's what has to happen. I mean, look, he clearly is not that guy anymore. He would have been much better served if the Warriors had. Look, when they had that middle rally there, when he came off the bench, I thought he's going to come off the bench. He's going to be a huge weapon. He's got a chip on his shoulder. Nope. Went back to starting, and he's just a guy. He's just not that player. He can't play the minutes anymore. He'd be most valuable going to another team that's loaded where I can come off the bench and be instant offense. But he's got a big ego. When he's upset being left off the 50 greatest players of all time, like, whoa, dude, okay. So the kind of ego he has. But no matter what, he still has some value someplace else. But just having to start alongside Steph Curry doesn't work. These guys can work different places. And if you're moving younger players around to be able to, if you move Kuminga to get somebody else, you need a couple of star players to come in to play with Steph Curry. These guys you will be able to move them to other teams and be able to build around Steph Curry again and reload on the fly.
Well, with Thompson, you don't have to do anything. Just let him sign somewhere else. See ya. With Draymond, yeah, you have to decide how much you stay with it or not. Steve Kerr and Steph and all these guys, they're going to have to address, Steph's first half. He took 4 shots in the first half. Yeah, they were only down 4, but he was not part of the game early, and they struggled. And you look at Thompson, he goes, 0 for 10 tonight. Right, I had to take my glasses off. Right, the glory of growing old. Like that's 0, right? Because I know he was 0 for 6 from 3-point range, but didn't hit a shot.
He's getting ready for the Knicks.
So they shoot 41. Nicely done. 41%, 10 of 32 from 3-point range. But you get bested by the Kings. You mentioned Murray before. Coming out of Iowa, right? He has a 32-point night. He's 8 of 13. Like, he individually had 2 fewer 3-point makes than the Warriors did as a team. De'Aaron Fox has been fantastic. The two of them were just playing out of their minds tonight. So, yeah, you're younger, faster version of what you were, and now you have to hit the hard reset button. Kerr's signed up for another couple of years. Curry's still there. Draymond's under contract, but you decide, all right, what do we do with this next iteration? Kuminga's a nice piece. Moody, I think, could be a guy that rises up a little bit, but you got a lot of holes in that roster. And Klay sure as hell ain't coming back.
Yeah, look,
for a million reasons.
When I look at the Warriors, I look how they should build like when the Heat built around the Heatles. When it was, we have the 3 players and we have like $25 to get another 9 guys. Like you can move anybody you want to, and you have Steph and bring a couple of good star players in, and then fill it up around and see if that works.
Yeah, this felt like there was a walking reunion tour that you were just wishing and hoping that you got a good night when you tuned on the TV to watch them.
The last night of the Warriors dynasty. NBA insider Mark Stein joins us for What's Next. the last night of the Warriors dynasty. The Kings light the beam. They move on to face the Pelicans on Friday night. Pelicans may be with or without Zion Williamson. We'll find out more on his injury tomorrow as the Lakers get the W earlier tonight. They will face the Nuggets. So much big news to get to. Joining us now on the hotline, longtime friend of the show. Check him out on Twitter, at The Stein Line. That is at The Stein Line. Substack as well. The website is markstein.substack.com. Also, the Game Uncut, This League Uncut podcast we'll get to in a couple of minutes. Mark, what's happening, man? Happy Tuesday night.
I'm good, gents. I'm good. How are you guys?
All right, so let's start with the Warriors here. Seeing this loss, Steve Kerr wouldn't talk about the future of the team following the loss tonight. I have to think the Warriors, outside of Steph Curry, look incredibly different next year. Do Draymond and Klay still come back? I think it needs to be some kind of reload because what they have going on, we know it's not working, and tonight might be the last night we saw them all play together.
Look, I know everybody wants to be the supposed first one to declare that, and it sounds fun to say the dynasty's over, but first of all, look, it's been a decade, so it's not supposed to last this long. And when you think about, the last quote long-term dynasty, something similar, when San Antonio won its 5th title 7 years after the 4th title, Kawhi Leonard came into the picture. I mean, it's not supposed to last for eternity, but I also think it's way premature to think that they are not just going to discard Draymond Green and Klay Thompson. I know that that's a popular thing to just speculate on, and it's over. But look, those 3 guys as teammates are incredibly close, and it's not going to be easy because they certainly do need to make changes. They need more shot creation, more playmaking. There's going to be changes, but I wouldn't just assume that it involves Draymond or even Klay after this is an awful night for Klay Thompson, who has so many great playoff performances on his resume. I mean, tonight was a nightmare for him. But there's, again, the closeness among these 3 as teammates, and then with Steve Kerr as their coach. I feel like I say this a lot, but I think it bears repeating, especially on a night like this. The Warriors, when you win 4 titles in a span of 8 years, there's just a different set of dynamics there than any NBA team has. And so my expectation is that they're going to find a contract of some sort where Klay Thompson would stay. Only Klay knows his true willingness. Would he want to go somewhere else? If money is the most important thing, perhaps he'll get a richer offer elsewhere. I mean, I reported in February that Orlando would have interest in Klay Thompson in free agency this summer, and I don't think that's changed. And there will be others that probably express interest. But I really don't see Klay Thompson moving on, nor do I see Draymond Green moving on. There will be changes, but I don't think it's going to involve those 2 guys who've been with Steph and Curry for so long.
Well, Mark, if it doesn't, though, we've seen that things aren't trending up for them. And Klay is not the player he was. Clearly, he's got an issue coming off the bench where might be his great role. You saw what he did tonight. He's not the same guy. Draymond is not the same player. And with him wearing out his welcome a little bit more with what's going on, I don't know that you can bring in a player who says, yeah, I want to go and be a part of that. I think I'm the missing piece when I'm walking into 3 guys who are so close. Right, I used the analogy earlier of if you go to a new school and you're friends with these 3 kids, but these 3 kids have been friends for 4 years. Are you really going to be hanging out with them a lot? No, because they've been through a lot. You're going to feel like the outsider. That's why I look at the Warriors as if they're going to reload on the fly, these players would have value elsewhere where they can use money to do one of those heatles around Steph, bring in a couple of players, and hey, we'll figure out the rest of the roster, because I know going into next year, with these guys being a year older, it's not going to just suddenly trend up for them.